everybody. Welcome. My name is Tupola Tukefu Drake, and I am your host for today's Koviki Talk. As many of you know, Koviki Talk is a multi episode series that talks about all things COVID, but from a PI perspective. So we have influential people of Pacific Islanders on to speak to the Pacific Islander community by Pacific Islanders for Pacific Islanders. We've talked about how to vote safely in a pandemic, how to get tested, and now it's all about the vaccine. All month in July, Koviki Talk has focused on young adults that we call the Wayfinders and giving them a platform to share their voices and opinions from. And so I am very privileged to be here today with some amazing people on the show. And so I'll go ahead and kick it off with some intros. Melanie, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Paul. My name is Meilani Malesea. My islands or identities include Samoa, both in the east and the west. Though Samoa is one island drawn apart by a line many years ago. I'm also a student at UC Berkeley in my final year, finishing up my degree. And I also work at Glide as one of the folks coordinating the COVID clinics right now. So.
This is cool. Thank you, Melanie. You want to go ahead, Oren?
Yeah, what's up, everyone? My name is Oren Patu. I am currently about to be a junior at Cal Berkeley also, and I am on the football team. And thanks for having me here. I'm glad to be here with my PAC board members, and PAC stands for Pacific Islanders at Cal. We're all in a group together, so yeah, it's good to be here.
That's so true. I just realized I hella skipped over myself. My name is Tupola Tukefu Drake. I'm also a student at UC Berkeley. I'm a rising senior majoring in ethnic studies. And like Oren said, we all know each other. We're hella familiar because we all sit on a board for Pacific Islanders at Cal, which is a student organization that focuses on the recruitment and retention of Pacific Islander students at Cal. And so now that we have the introductions out of the way, I'm so glad to be sitting here and talking with you guys. It has really been a hot minute. I think everyone has like taken the break that they needed during the summer. Now we're picking back up, getting ready for school. But just to like kind of get the energy right for like our talk that we're gonna have, I wanted to start off with a check-in question. And so the check-in question is, what's one thing that brings you energy and joy? And I think Oren wants to go.
Okay, yeah. Off the top of my head, the one thing that brings me energy and joy is my family because I wake up and do what I do and try to achieve the goals that I want to achieve. And in the back of my head is my family. I'm always thinking about them, and they bring me energy and joy into what I'm doing just daily. And yeah, I think I could speak for most people when I say that. So, Milani, which you wanna go next?
Yeah. No, I echo that as well. I think my family is a really big contributor to keeping me up and going throughout the pandemic. But I would also outstretch that to my friends around the world. I have family and friends around the world, and sometimes that perspective alone keeps you going through something that feels so stagnant, something that feels so isolated. Just knowing that you share some of that experience and some of those feelings with people across the globe from you brings me some sort of hope, some sort of light, some sort of refreshed sense that this is not just me and this is not just the folks around me. Like, this is affecting everybody. So
Yeah, especially when you find your close friends, like the ones that are in your circle, like for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so true. I have to agree with both of you guys. Definitely family and friends. And I think just knowing that this is going to be over soon, that we're going to be, in a somewhat like normal state after this, depending on how you define normal. I think that gives me energy every day, that like the things that I do can contribute to, moving towards the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are good answers. Um, okay, so we'll just get right into it. I really want to know, how are you guys doing? I have not, like I mentioned, we haven't talked to each other since finals. I think it's been since finals. How are
Mhm.
you guys doing? Like, how have you guys been holding up during the pandemic? Um, or, or I guess I should say post quarantine now.
You want to go, Milani?
Sure. Um, I don't know about post quarantine yet. Honestly, it still feels very much the same. Of course, when we get back and hit campus, it's gonna feel quite different. But personally, like I'm a frontline worker. We still go in. We still mask up at work. We still expect the folks around us to mask up at work and to keep a social distance and to
Mm.
be safe in those ways. So in a lot of ways for me, not much has changed with the removal of the tier
Mm,
system. Not much has changed with the reopening
Mm.
of the economy and the reopening of the state, right? There are still a lot of vulnerable communities out there that we work with that COVID is not gone for. So I think
right.
that's how I'm doing. Just very much the same. What's up,
Interesting.
Lauren?
Where'd you say you worked at again?
I work in Glide or at Glide in San Francisco.
Okay. And what's Glad is what, medical field?
No,
Nonprofit?
Glide is a nonprofit serving the Tenderloin
Right.
area of San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many services and programs we offer to the most vulnerable communities in the Tenderloin and in San Francisco. And one of those happens to be a COVID testing site on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then a COVID vaccine clinic on Thursdays.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay.
And you oversee those
No,
every
I do
week?
not oversee them. I play a supporting role as a coordinator. My manager
Mm,
oversees those clinics, but being in and around the area, we all just kind of chip in where we're needed.
I feel
Oh, good. My experience, since the state has been open, it's actually been way better for me because I was ready to take those masks off. I was ready to breathe again during workouts and just everything. So,
that.
I was actually happy that the state opened up and I got fully vaccinated. At first, I didn't want to do it, but I think we'll talk about that later. But yeah, it's been good. I'm seeing that cases are starting to rise again though, and the percentage is back up to where it was in February. That's the last thing I read about it. So that's kind of draining when you just lived through almost a year and a half to 2 years of COVID. Just masked up and just trying to adjust to the new normal. But as of now, I feel good and content, and hopefully, we can get more people vaccinated and kill this disease off.
Right.
Hmm.
I feel that. I definitely feel that frustration. I'm not an essential worker, but I've been doing an internship with Intel this whole summer, and it's been like super intense. And you would think it would be like a super rewarding experience, except the part where I work from home and the part where I can't ever find any peace and quiet. So I'm always in my room.
Yeah.
I'm always working from my room, and I feel like that has like kind of kept me in the mindset of being in quarantine still.
Hmm.
Whereas like I'm not able to go out and see the sun because I'm on my computer all the time. It's very much giving me same last year vibes.
That's what I'm saying.
Like yeah, it's been hella draining. I just feel tired. That's how I've been. That's
Yeah.
how I've been majority of the time.
Even
No,
with
but
connecting with people too, like you don't get to see people that much. Like you're locked in the house. Like I know a lot of people that bought I think it was like blue glasses because their eye and their head was hurting
For
from
their
looking at the
screens.
screen so
Yeah,
much. So like
for
it
real.
just takes that
okay,
all away.
okay. See, but that's a new thing about me, right? I'm wearing
Hmm.
glasses. These are not blue light glasses. These are real, for real glasses, for realsies. Like these are not blue light. My vision is messed up.
Mm.
I kid you not. Like we went, me and Henry, my husband, and my sister. We went somewhere. I think we were just getting food, and we were like standing in line. We were a little bit in the back. I could not see the damn menu. I could not see it. I was like, oh my God. Is this what it feels like? Is my age catching up to me? What the heck? So I finally went to get I went to go get my eyes checked, and the doctor was like, "Yeah, it's a good thing you came in because your vision is going bad." I was like, "Well, isn't that just great?" Another thing to add on my pandemic list.
That's crazy.
Oh,
Yeah,
You think it's
sorry,
from the
bro.
screen?
I don't know. I have no clue. Like, I really hope not, because like my tendencies from in person rolled over to virtual, like overworking
Mhm.
myself and taking on a load that's way bigger than I need to be having. Like, I
Yeah,
hope it's not self-inflicted from the pandemic, but
yeah,
it seems about
yeah.
so not proud about that.
And how do y'all feel about the online classes, like compared to in person?
I'm gonna miss him. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, you miss online?
Oh,
I
You
that's
like
prefer it
true.
online? You like
that
online better?
way. Huh?
You like online better?
Oh hell yeah. I'm sorry. But give me a choice any day, I'm gonna take my classes over Zoom. And I know that's an unpopular opinion because like some of y'all are new to campus, some of y'all are first, second years. I'm ready to be out of there. That's my
Mm,
final year. And I think something that those in administration on campus are not recognizing is that a lot of us college age folks had to pick up jobs during the pandemic
mm,
because
Yes.
the jobs that our parents and families had were hit hard by COVID. A lot of the people in my family go into work, and when that was not a
Right.
possibility, right? They lost hours, they lost income. So a lot of
Mhm.
us picked up jobs to support ourselves, further to support them, further to be that source of income. And so
mm,
we're looking at all of these messages coming out from our chancellor and from our administration at Berkeley saying, hey, we're coming back, albeit without masks on. It's like
mm,
you didn't consider what students had to go through during the pandemic
Mhm.
to keep afloat.
That
You're
part.
not considering who's dependent on this now student because we are not out of the pandemic. Things are not entirely
Right.
open. We have not entirely bounced back. Like
mm,
yes, I much prefer Zoom classes because those will allow me to have my work schedule. They have allowed me to have my work schedule to support myself and my family at times. So for that reason, yes, I also just I don't want to be on campus. I won't lie.
yeah.
See,
Chilling
that was
on
mine.
my
That was
computer was
mine.
lovely.
No, no, that was my gripe with like being virtual because like as
Mm,
you guys know, I'm a transfer. Like last year
Mhm.
was my first my first year at UC Berkeley. I've not even set foot on campus. I think I only did once like last summer for a program. But yeah, I have not set foot in a UC Berkeley classroom. I was
mm,
super upset because I felt like the professors weren't they weren't adjusting their curriculum for like an online setting. And so I felt like I was losing out. But I think because we've been in this pandemic for so long and because we've been taking online classes for so long, I've learned to adjust and I've learned to appreciate being
yeah,
online. And so I'm not looking forward to being back in class because the masks aren't going to be mandated.
Right.
But also, like, just a school full of people and like people not knowing how to like space out properly, being up all in your business. I don't know, it's just making me feel uncomfortable already.
Mhm.
mm.
Not
That's
ready for it.
interesting. Mine is like,
Yeah.
like at first, this is exactly how I was thinking. Like I was glad. I was like, oh, I can sleep in and go to class and go to sleep again and go hang out with my friends. Like it was a lot of free time that I had because classes were on campus and they were online, and so it was fun. It was a fun new learning experience trying to learn how to use Zoom and Google, was it Gmail Live or something like that. I don't
Yeah.
know,
Hmm.
but it was cool. And then it got to a point to where it switched, and I was like, I'm tired of doing online school. Like, yeah, I got more time and I could lay around and sleep in and stuff, but I think I just missed like people. Like, I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't connect, like
Right.
meet new people, like networking. So that's like a big thing that I learned when coming to college is that networking is important. So I going a year with just sitting in my room, like doing school over Zoom and so like it got to a point where I was just bored of it. and I missed like interacting with people and just
Right.
being in a class setting. So I'm actually looking forward to in-person classes returning, and that's my take on it.
Yeah. No.
Well, so going back to the school thing, I know that not everyone is going to be in person, right?
Yeah.
There are some schools that will still continue to be online. Like, for instance, because I used to go to City, I know that City College of San Francisco, they're going to be online next semester.
Hmm.
So, I guess a question that just popped into my head, like, do you guys have any tips on how you were able to get through like virtual online schooling? Like how you can be successful, or like things that you wish you did better
Hmm.
for those who, might be watching and might want some help. I don't know.
I wish I got some of those blue light glasses because I heard that
Me
those
too.
are some
Me
lifesavers
too.
Oh,
over the quarantine. So that was the first thing that I wish I could have done. But I think time management is also a big thing too, because it could be easy to not manage your time the right way when you got all this free time throughout the day. So
Right.
just being good with time management and trying to interact with people in your Zoom classes. I went through a whole year of Zoom, a bunch of off screens, no talking, everyone in the chat. So it was just kind of like boring. I'm like, dang, why's no one talking? No one showing their face. So it would sometimes it would be annoying. I'm not even gonna lie, because I remember I would be like waking up going to class, and the teacher would try to have us turn our cameras on, and I'm over here cursing and everything. I'm like, no, that's not good. But yeah, just interacting with people, trying to connect with people. Make like homework groups or something. But yeah, those are my tips.
yeah. I'm not even gonna lie. I I don't think I'm in a position to give. So here's the real of it, though. I cannot sit here and tell you I was the best virtual student because I was not. I was up in my kitchen cooking while my class was playing. I had hella time to meal prep because I wasn't listening, right? And it's dangerous when you have those type of classes where you can get by with while doing that.
Right.
I
Right.
think just to be real, like I know a lot of us were not
Right.
the perfect student over Zoom. Like we weren't sitting here like tip tip tip. It's like I was like, nah, I'm gonna go meal prep, watch a movie. Like that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And I think one, be honest with yourself. Like I think that would be one of my
Right.
things. Just like know where you're starting from, be honest about it,
Mhm.
and keep it pushing so you can get to where you want to get to. Right.
Right.
Mhm.
I think my second tip though is to be kind. Your professor has to be there every time you log on. So
Mhm.
while you may have the choice to skip it, while you may have the choice to turn your camera off and go meal prep, right? Your professor is still there.
They probably don't want to be there too.
Yeah, they most
No,
definitely
they
did
sure
not want to be
don't.
there, right?
They sure
Surely did not.
don't.
And it's like, be kind, right? Like I think one of at least my familial values or my cultural values is to have respect, right? To be kind to
Mm.
someone who's giving their time to you, regardless of the subject matter, right? This person is here giving their time, likely having a worse time at Zoom than you are, given the generational
Right.
gap of technology,
Right.
right? And so I think a lot of folks took advantage of that and knew that and just pieced out. And yeah, there were days where I did that too. But I think I
Mhm.
always had to come back to the, okay, this person, whether they have to or not, is giving their time. So I tried to turn lectures into conversations. I
Mhm.
tried to give back what they were giving to us. Like I tried to make somebody laugh in lecture because most of us were having rough days when we logged on. I had evening classes. Nobody wants to be on Zoom at 6. Nobody.
Right.
Nobody.
Nobody. Like there are better things to be doing at 6. And so it's like, I think just remembering to be kind and to know that someone's giving their time to you and to try to give a little bit back when you can, when you have the capacity. Again, none of us are perfect. None of us are always going to have
Right.
that capacity to be like a student right there, giving everything. But when you do, give it, because if everyone does when they do, that room will have some presence in it every time. Right? So
That's a
Right.
good perspective.
appreciate you.
Yeah. I think for I think for me, one thing that I learned the hard way during the pandemic and being virtual, is that like for me at least, from my perspective, I felt that there is no such thing as balance, if that makes sense. So,
Mm.
like for myself, I live in a multi-generational home. I live here with my husband, my sister, my parents, my grandpa. And so there are just like culturally things that I need to be doing in my household, right? Like to make sure that things run. Oh gosh, I was almost about to start cussing. Make sure that things run, in this household. Um, and so I didn't take that into consideration when I was signing up for classes. What I also didn't take into consideration was working, as well as signing up for like extracurricular activities, like being the executive director for PAC. As much as I love PAC and that position, that was something that I definitely should have taken into factor when I signed up for my 20 unit semester.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's a lot.
It was a lot. It was a lot. That's probably what contributed to my eyesight. But that's a tip that I have is like really take into consideration the things that you got going on in your life outside of school, because like when it comes to it, like that school will come secondary to your family, and school will come secondary to your work. It is what it is. You have to take care of those things in your life.
Yeah.
um, and so, yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say, instead of trying to find balance, try to find harmony where things just work well,
Mm.
and you're not putting your mental health at stake. Because
No,
your
agree.
girl was hurting.
No, that's so
Your girl
real.
was for sure
So real.
hurting.
And like just because your schedule fits on that piece of paper, like the blocks line up correctly, that doesn't mean you've made time for your humanity, right? There are going to be days where
Right.
you don't want to jump from 2 to 3 to 4 on your classes and be present, right? There are going to be those days more often than not. So I totally feel that. That's hella good advice.
Yeah.
Fact.
Go ahead, Art.
I was saying facts.
Yeah. Um, so there's a question that I really want to ask, because I have to apologize if this is like a controversial question. But this is something that I've been dying to talk about with folks. So as a Pacifica person, how well, I know this is probably like a huge pivot from education, because now we're talking about community and people, our
Mm.
people. But as a Pacifica person, how well do you think our people held up during the pandemic, or during the pandemic, or like how well do you think our people reacted to the pandemic? Like, what were things that we did as a community or as a people to help protect us? But then I also want to know, like, what do you think are things that we did to put us at risk?
Mm.
I
I'll
don't
say,
know, but I mean, you
or
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was saying one of the big things I think helped was creating a pack and actually following through with the virtual year of our events and stuff. We didn't know how it was gonna work. We went into it like not knowing all the details about everything, but we made it work and we were able to provide packed meetings every Wednesday, to where all the Islander students could hop on, and we would have planned activities when it was either like a movie night, and Jenna would send snack boxes to everyone who wanted to sign up for the movie, or if we were playing like a game or
Right.
something. And I felt like that was something that helped bring our community together at a time where everything is so separated and everything's so like socially distanced that we're not really connecting like that. So I feel like that is a big part of um, what happened this year with the pandemic, and how our community like stood up and basically connected and got together. And when it comes to putting us at risk, I can't think of much. I mean, I walked out the house without a mask a couple times. I mean, that's the only thing I think that put it at risk. But besides that, I'll let one of y'all answer that question.
Who wants to go? You and
You
me
want me to
go?
go? You want me?
You want me go?
Girl, you go. Yeah,
Cool.
you go. You go.
I know my family's gonna watch this. I know my family's gonna watch this. So I'm trying to
Oh,
think
sorry,
real hard
Ashley.
about what I'm gonna say. Um,
Right.
First of all, to all of you watching, I love you. I love you so much. I, I love you. But I think
But
I think like particularly like my family, because I can't speak for the whole community. I didn't see how the whole community took it, right? In my circles and in the circles that I had seen, I think there were groups of our folks who were doing amazing work, trying to push out education about the pandemic, trying to push out education about what the vaccine was going to be, when you should get tested, why you should get tested, why you should get the vaccine, and what COVID looked like, how to recognize, spot COVID, how to go in, when to go in, right? I think there were many a task force that did an amazing job putting out that information and making it accessible to folks and making testing sites and resources accessible to folks. I think the detriment then comes in the receipt of that, right? In my family, particularly, right? Not all of us believe that the virus is as serious or severe as it is, right? And that is one, a serious, but two, a very hard topic to touch on when it comes to family. Because on the one hand, right, I'm not going to tell you what you have to do with your body. But on the other hand, hey, I love you and this is why this makes sense. And it's because I love you that I'm telling you to gear up this way, right? I'm the oldest of my siblings, but of course I'm still the younger in the house. And so to be able to tell my family anything is not going to work. I talk through it and I try to make them aware of what is available and why it's available and what I have and have not gotten and why I did so, right? I think it's a lot of positionality of, I did this to protect you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I do this to protect myself and to protect other people, because herd immunity doesn't work if the herd's not getting immune. Like, it just, you have to think about it. Like, one person getting this vaccine is not going to solve it. Herd immunity is built by everyone deciding that, okay, this vaccine is going to help in the long run. This vaccine is going to help me see my family sooner. This vaccine is going to help reopen what has been closed in this new normal that we're venturing into. So yes, on the one hand, our folks have put out digestible information, solid information, and solid resources and access to them. I think a lot of times, though, it was just our folks being open to receive that and open to learn versus assume what they thought they already know about the vaccine and about the virus. So.
That's so true. You brought up how there's been like different groups of people that put out information, right? I was just looking up because I didn't want to come on here without any numbers. I was looking up. I believe Michelle was an intern for the NHPI COVID-19 dashboard, like the research group that they had. Yeah, so I was looking at the numbers, and it's crazy because the numbers are hella accurate, but it's scary to know that like our people are being affected at this like big of a rate. And so I wanted to ask this question because like it just seems that with all of the effort that's being put into trying to get folks educated about the pandemic or COVID-19 and trying to get folks to, be safe, like
Mm-hmm.
keep themselves safe and keep our community safe. There are just some things that kind of contradict that, right, in our culture. Like for one thing I've seen, and that I've tried to like stay away from is funerals. I know that like there's been a lot of funerals that happened over the year and a half. I might get a lot of flack for this, but there's been a lot of funerals, and even though they try to limit to like a certain amount of numbers, people still go. They're gonna go. They're gonna go and express their love. That's just what you do. You pay your respect and all that. But I feel like those big, like massive congregations, like is what caused our Pacific Islander communities to rise in the numbers of COVID-19 cases. Um, But like, of course, that doesn't discredit all of the work that is being done to, to help get everything in a better position than it was yesterday. But I
Yeah.
just thought that it was such a weird phenomenon to see, like how being a Pacific Islander and like what it means to be PI, which is to me is like being around family and being around friends, and being with God, like even church was affected by it, how we had to stop all of those things, right?
Mhm.
We had to stop all of those things. And I felt like some people they were really like, what's the word? They were willing to die to keep those traditions alive, to keep those cultural practices alive. I thought that was like one saddening, but two like even though it's weird, but like for me it was like damn that's sad, but then like damn I hella feel proud to be PI because we
Mhm.
go to this length. Like that probably sounds bad because we
Oh,
don't want to continue spreading it, but
that makes
like
sense.
it's just one of those things. Yeah, like I just
Yeah.
think it was really crazy last year,
Kind of a slippery
even
slope.
even today.
Because
Yeah.
it's like you want to hang out and you want to pay your respects at the funeral. You want to go hang out with your friends, build that, those relationships and stuff. But it's like you get this COVID, so maybe you have to be vaccinated or wear a mask. So it's just
Yeah.
decisions, whatever decision you decide to make. But yeah, when it comes to vaccine stuff, I didn't want to get vaccinated at first because thank God I went a whole year without catching COVID, and I never caught it. But then the vaccine started coming out, and that's when they were making things mandatory. So like for me, um, like for the school and for football, we have to get vaccinated if we want to be there in person to do workouts and stuff. So it was kind of getting to that point where if you weren't vaccinated, then you weren't cleared, and you have to get
Mm,
vaccinated. And at first, I didn't want to do it, but just looking in the long run and just what I'm trying to do with school and football, I just decided to do it. And yeah, I feel like the more people that get vaccinated, I feel like it's gonna help the economy just get back to regular. And of course, scientists and people are doing extra work to see what if there's a better vaccination they can make or something. So I feel like eventually it's all gonna fall into place.
Right.
right. Can I ask you on why you didn't want to get the vaccine at first?
I just didn't want to get it because I didn't catch COVID. Like I just that's the honest reason. Like I didn't catch it. I was
That was
like,
the logic.
why do I wanna insert it into my body when I haven't had it in my body for the last year and a half? Like it makes no sense. So, but just like I said, looking in the long run with everything, I just decided to get it. So yeah, that's the
That's
reason.
real.
Hey,
That's real.
thanks.
You can you share actually your experience with like getting it? Did you experience the whole like flu-like symptoms that everyone was talking about?
Yeah, so I got the Pfizer vaccine, so it was a two part vaccine. I had to get one day, and then like 3 weeks later, I had to
Yeah.
get my second one. And after I got the first one, my shoulder was a little bit, sore the next day, but I was fine. I felt fine. And then 3 weeks passed, and then I got the second one. And that second one took me out. It was like, I got it. Shoulder was sore like normal. I was like, yep, it's gonna be the same as last time. Woke up the next morning. I was like, what the mess? My body was it was bad. I had to chill. My body was all sore. I had workouts that morning too, so I was in workouts like hecka stiff. I was
Oh,
like, oh yeah, went straight home after that. Was sleep the whole rest of the day.
Oh
So
my
yeah, the
gosh.
second one took me out the second day, but after that second day, I was perfectly fine and everything was back to normal.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my experience. Y'all got any experiences with vaccines or anything?
I remember you,
So
Paul. I remember you. Yeah. You remember we were in a meeting and she was like, "No, guys." Like,
Dang.
yeah,
oh my gosh, I
remember
remember
that?
that day. Oh yeah, so I got the Moderna one
Mhm.
because California public health, all we could afford was Moderna. Um Yeah, at first I was like, damn, I don't want to get Moderna. Should I just like wait and go to one of those like the clinics where all of my family have been going to? But I had an appointment that was sooner than like my siblings and my husband. So I was like, I'm gonna just go do it. So I went and I got it, and it was cool. Like the first time I got it, my arm was definitely really really sore. Like it was so sore. But it wasn't like anything that was out of the ordinary with any other vaccinations that I got.
Hmm.
And then yeah, I waited, and then the second time I got it, it was just terrible because I feel like I was trying to fight it. I think I was trying to fight like whatever symptoms that I was getting because I just had so much on my plate and I wasn't trying to slow down.
Hmm.
I remember I still attended all of my meetings, all of my classes, but I think it was because with our pack meetings, it was so late at night, right? I don't
Yeah.
know. Did I leave?
Yeah.
I don't know if I left, but yeah, I was sick for like 2 days. I had like the chills, and every time I feel like chilly for no reason, and it's like blazing hot in my house, I
Yeah.
know I'm sick.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly how.
and so I felt the
Yeah.
chills, and then I had the fever. I had a fever. I wasn't really coughing, but like my chest was feeling sore, as if I had been coughing a
Mm.
lot. So I was like, oh yikes. I was feeling some type of way. I was like, damn, should I have taken this? But then
Yeah.
after the second day, my temp went down. And then I started to feel better. Like I don't regret it at all. Like it's definitely a sucky thing to go through. But I mean it's like the flu shot. I mean, yeah, I feel like it's like the flu shot if you haven't taken it in a while, where you end up experiencing those symptoms. Yeah. That was me. What about you, Melanie?
Oh no, very much the same. I very much the same. I also got Moderna, um, and I actually wanted Moderna because that's what my doctors had gotten. I'm like, give me what they got. Like, if I'm gonna get something, I'm gonna get what the doctors got. Give me what they got. And so I got Moderna as well. And again, first shot was fine. I Yes, I wanted to get Moderna out of the two because I Johnson and Johnson was just kind of iffy to me. Um, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to get it initially either, and that was out of concern because I had spinal surgery earlier in the year, so I was
Right, you
already
did.
compromised. My immune system was not having it. It was trying to heal me from that, and so I didn't know if I could handle it. And I had to reason it out. It's like, you're either going to handle COVID or you're going to handle the COVID vaccine. And I was like, vaccine it is. And so I went and got the vaccine, had pretty much the same reactions you guys did. First shot was okay. Second shot, I was out for 3 days. I just I was not having it. But it is scary too for our folks. A lot of our folks are immunocompromised, right? And then the question of, should I get the vaccine or should I risk it and maybe get COVID, right? That comes up because COVID hits
Right,
people who are immunocompromised way harder and for much longer and has lasting effects, as
right,
we've seen. Like, we can pull up the data, and we work with folks who are immunocompromised every day at the clinics, and we get the same questions. So it's like, of course, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, and I can't say definitively for each person. Like, that has to be their decision, and that has to be based on what their circumstances are. But I I understand the hesitation and the fear with this very, very new vaccine that was developed very quickly in relative terms to
right,
other vaccines. I can understand why people are hesitant. And that's why I thought that putting out that information was so important, making sure that people knew what this vaccine was, having the few take it for the many, right? To see another Pacifica person take the vaccine made it okay for me.
right,
To see my leaders get the vaccine made it okay for me. So to be that for the others in my family, hopefully would have made it okay for them, and they're all getting the vaccine. So it, again, sometimes it takes the few to authenticate the experience for the many. Sometimes it takes that trust within a cultural community, um, because I mean, it wasn't going to do it for me seeing other folks just get it. You know what I mean? Sometimes that
right.
trust is within a community. So yeah.
That's so true. because the first person in my family to get the vaccine was my grandpa. So my grandpa, like a little bit of his medical history, he has COPD, um, and like for those that don't know what it is, it's like it's a respiratory condition where it makes it harder for you to breathe. And if I'm wrong, please let me know in the chat. I apologize. I'm not a medical student, but he has COPD, and that affects his lungs. That is what I know is a fact. But he also has rectal cancer. And so it's the kind of cancer that he can live with for a long time. But because of that, we knew that his immune system has been compromised for a long time already. So once the first batch of vaccines came out, we were like all really afraid that he was going to go and get one. His doctor like almost demanded that he get one because it didn't make any sense for someone who has like a respiratory disease to like go without the vaccine and risk catching COVID. And so like my parents, they prayed about it a lot. We talked about it all the time. My parents constantly watch the news. My dad loves reading about it online. Um, and then like we asked my grandpa because we gave him the option. We were like, if you don't want to take it, like don't take it. But he understood that without the vaccine, things aren't going to get better for our family or for, the entire world, if you look at it like that. So he got it. He was cool. He did not even get like any symptoms, like not even any flu symptoms for his second dose at all. He was perfectly fine, which
Good.
like kind of motivated all of us. It motivated all of us to go and get it ourselves. So that's when my parents got it, and then we got it. So our whole house, thank God, thank God, is vaccinated. Because now that everything's open up, everyone has to go out back out to work, and all of that. But I definitely agree where you see people do it and you see that it's benefiting them, so then you kind of like feel motivated to go and get it done yourself.
Right.
How about you, Oren? Do you mind if I ask if your family is vaccinated?
Yeah, my family is vaccinated. They are. I think they just got vaccinated a couple months ago, I think. And they were actually one of my, as Milani was saying, leaders to get vaccinated that, I look up to. So my mom got it and my dad got it. So I know they were going through it. I think they were going through it for like a week. So it was, a little bit longer than
Oh
what
shoot.
other people. But, just seeing them do it, it gave me some more confidence in getting vaccinated. And yeah, I ended up doing it, I think the week after they did. So, yeah.
That's, that's crazy how like different people react differently, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had it for a couple days. Your parents had it for a week.
Mm-hmm.
Sheesh.
That's
And
crazy.
and I know that a lot of jobs have been super flex with people going and getting the vaccine, and but then also like taking a day or two to deal with that. Like, have you guys run into any issues at all? Or do
Not
you
me.
know of anyone who did?
I was saying not me personally. I mean, not they do that too. With I mean, I don't work, but football, playing football is like my job. So they were also doing that too. Like if you needed some time off from the vaccine or you were feeling sick or something, they were allowing players to take however much time they needed off to recover. I don't. I haven't heard of anything when it comes to like jobs and stuff. Uh, have you heard about anything, Melanie?
Yeah. I mean, I'm blessed to work in a place where a bunch of California employees were given designated COVID hours, right? So it's like anything COVID related. I believe I got 80 hours of COVID related pay. So if you need to be out to test, if you need to be out because you're sick with COVID, if you need to be out to care for someone with COVID, right? Those hours are applicable and you can take those days off. And I also work in a workplace that, I mean, we foster an environment where we're caring for folks with COVID and answering these questions. So there's a level of understanding. But like some of my friends aren't as lucky. Some of my friends don't have the same privilege. I know that a few of my friends work over at Amazon. We're just gonna throw that out there. A few of my friends work at Amazon and they don't get that. Amazon is not willing to support that if you're sick. They're not willing, at least from what I hear, they don't get the same privileges of being able to stay home to test, of being able to quarantine with pay, they just go without pay. And a lot of folks can't do that, right? So, yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. It's funny because, like, you know, one of the big reasons I ended up taking on that internship with Intel is because, one, there's not many PIs in tech, but two, because, you know, the benefits, the benefits are great, and like the pay is great, you know, but
Period.
that's something that I have not seen or like heard many people talk about, like taking time off to go get tested or like taking time off to go get vaccinated. But then again, it also makes me think about, because I guess here in the Santa Clara location, they have clinics at the job site, but they have like, I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent about Intel, but they have like a lot of resources. But one of them is they have they have the like a vaccine site at the workplace. So I guess that goes into to show that they don't want you to stop working. They want you to get vaccinated, but don't stop working.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's a smart
Exactly.
business move. It's a smart business move.
Right. No, what do you call it? So I wanted to ask because I'm not even gonna lie, like I get so busy sometimes where I don't have time to look up things as much as I would like to. Um, or you know, sometimes I just get so drained where I don't even care to look up things. And what I'm talking about is the Delta variant. Do you what do you guys know about the Delta variant? And like, is this something that you guys are hella afraid of? Like, what were you guys' initial reactions to hearing about it? And do you have any concerns?
Um, the only time I seen it and heard about it is when I was on Twitter and I looked at the trending tweets. I saw
That's
Delta,
real.
and I clicked on it and I was like, "What the mess? New strain, California, percent rising." So like, I didn't read into it that much, but it's just like another reminder for me to be aware of my surroundings, wear a mask whenever I need to wear a mask, even since I'm vaccinated. Like even when I'm vaccinated, like there's still times where I could wear a mask just to be extra safe. But I didn't do too much research on it. So if y'all know some more about it, I'm interested in hearing about it.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm again not a doctor. So I hesitate to say when I think I know. Um, I know that any type of variant, right, is implied that it has become from the original, therefore might not have been accounted for and is not combative through the vaccines that exist currently. And I'm not sure to what extent that is true. But yes, absolutely, that's troubling for me and for a lot of my colleagues as we try to reach a percentage. Like we're going for a percentage point in the tenderloin where we have vaccinated folks.
Mm.
If new variants continue to surface that these vaccines aren't necessarily equipped to handle, that can be a problem. It's hard
Right.
to get folks to return for their vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for get folks to trust in the vaccines that they're receiving. To continue to ask folks in these communities to take vaccines and to trust the process, folks who might not completely understand why then they might need to get another vaccine possibly, why they might need to take extra procedures if they've already been vaccinated because of the Delta variant is hard. Same goes for a lot of folks in our communities, right? To try to explain to my dad why, hey, you still need to be careful. Even if you're vaccinated, or my sister Ave or my brother Tony, you still need to be careful, even if you're
Right.
vaccinated, because this is mutating. Just as we're developing, the vaccine is developing, or not the vaccine, the virus is developing. It's smart, right? And
Hmm.
so it, again, the reason I stress that COVID is not over is because it's not. Until we have a definitive way to make sure that we're building up herd immunity accurately and safely and sustainably, yes, the Delta variant is concerning.
That's so true. Before I give my answer, I just wanted to pause real quick just so that we can play a quick little video. Um, yeah.
Today, Kavika got his COVID-19 vaccine. That's because everyone 12 and older is now eligible for a vaccine. Kavika then found a vaccine location for his sister. His sister sent an appointment link to her best friend, who reminded her business partner, who then, well, you get the idea. And it all started today with Kavika. Tomorrow, it can start with you. It's time to let our friends and family know that vaccines prevent nearly 100% of hospitalizations and deaths from COVID. We can do this.
So based on that
Thank
video,
you.
it just brought a question. Can well, just from what I've heard about it, you can't really catch. It's like very, very rare to catch COVID if you're like a kid, right? Like a little kid.
Um, from what I've heard, again, I'm not a medical professional,
Yeah.
but from what I've heard, kids are not as likely to carry or to like actually get sick from the COVID virus. Stop me if
Hmm.
I'm wrong, but the thing is, they are able to carry it. And so
Hmm.
I know that that video was hella random, and I apologize, but I just wanted to make sure that I included in here that that was in partnership with We Can Do This, a campaign run by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. And so for folks watching, you for more information, please go to www.vaccine.gov. And so like back to your question, I think that I've always been thinking this because I have a lot of nieces and nephews, right? I
Hmm.
always think about like, oh shoot, when are they going to be able to take the vaccine? Now that there's this Delta variant, and like obviously the vaccine isn't up to date to be able to combat it, how are we going to be able to protect like the kids in case this Delta variant will affect our kids today?
Yeah.
And so, like to answer the question before, the Delta variant is something that I'm definitely afraid of. I have, like I mentioned, I live in this big old house with all
Mm.
these people. We are doing our best to equip ourselves, with the tools that we need to protect our loved ones and the people around us outside of this household. Um, and so to just know that the Delta variant isn't really, I mean, from what I've heard, right? Like from my family and my friends, not a lot of people are taking it very seriously. As like as you see all of these amusement parks opening back up, like I
Mm.
thought it would be cute to take my nieces and nephews to Fisherman's Wharf because they'd never been. Bad idea. It was like jam packed. There was probably half the people there
Yeah.
were wearing their masks and half people weren't.
Mm.
Like it's scary. It scares me. It scares me. And so I guess it just, like you said, Oren, it just reminds me that I need to, the things that we've been doing throughout the pandemic, we need to continue to do so.
Mm.
Even during post quarantine, just because we're not cooped up in our houses anymore, it doesn't mean that we can go outside and act a fool and, put ourselves at risk every day. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, so I'm not very excited for being back in school in person. Not very excited at all. I'm excited to see your beautiful faces in person though. It's been a minute, like seeing
I know.
everyone.
We gotta have a vaccinated COVID protocol barbecue.
Yes,
We gotta
yes.
get
Or
together.
at
I
least,
chicken. I'm cooking the chicken. It's good.
yeah. Well, at least we'll have to redo the tacos, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. For
We have to
sure.
Try to
redo them
gas me
tacos.
saying my tacos were bad, but I mean,
No, 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 no. They weren't bad. No, they weren't
They were
bad.
unique.
They
They
were
were unique.
they were very,
no,
yeah,
just
very
it's
intense.
just some mature taste bud stuff. You gotta have mature taste buds to eat my food.
No, okay.
I think COVID affected your taste buds.
He can't taste his own tacos.
Look. Next time we link for the barbecue, y'all gonna see what my taste buds are talking about. So I'm good.
For sure.
Oren,
Okay.
stop on
I'm
your
gonna
head,
wait on
bro.
that chicken. I'm gonna wait on that chicken.
Yeah.
No, we are getting close to time. So like we always do in our meetings, we have a check-in, and so I have a checkout question for us. would you like to share what has been working for you in regards to staying safe, slowing slash stopping the spread of COVID, and how you've been trying to keep others in our community safe? Like, I guess all of that to say, what are some tips or tricks that you have that you believe have been keeping you and your family safe for others who are listening and could, learn something new or pick up something new?
Wearing a mask, definitely something that everyone knows. Trying to avoid like large gatherings of people, especially people who aren't vaccinated or don't wear masks. And just also another thing that I think people don't look at as much is hygiene, just your personal hygiene, like making sure like your living space and just your body is clean and like you're not being germy and stuff because that could also affect like the spread of COVID within your communities and stuff. So just making sure you're clean, making sure people around you are clean and stuff. And yeah, those are my answers.
For sure.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, right, those are the big ones to know.
Mhm.
I think in general, right, just practicing common sense. Practice common sense, practice communal care, and stand strong in those things, even if the people around you are not, right? Like it's not for me to judge what anybody else is doing,
Mhm.
but I'm also not going to let what they're doing affect what I'm going to do, right? It's like if you see your friends going out to party at a place where you probably shouldn't be without a mask on, right? Where people's inhibitions are down and such, it's like it's probably not the best place to be right now. And just knowing that we'll get back to those times. Like there will
Right.
be time and
Exactly.
space for everything, for all of those things. But right now, just keeping in mind your family and your friend groups and your workplace environments and your home. Like a lot of us do live off campus or on campus with other individuals, right? I myself have a housemate. And so it's like I'm not then just responsible for me. I'm responsible for what I bring into my environment. And so is she.
Mhm.
So just keeping common sense, communal care in mind when everything you do.
I love that. I love that because if you're not only thinking about yourself, and you're thinking about others, it'll prompt you to go that extra mile, right? of
Mhm.
of being clean, like you said. Or and I think that has been the biggest part, like for my family. Like my sister, she'll probably watch this later. But my sister Ofa, she is like a clean freak. You guys met her. She was in like a couple of our games, I think. I think she won something one time. But she's always constantly cleaning for us, and I'm like so grateful for her because I honestly feel like if she didn't live here with us like at the beginning of the pandemic, one of us would have caught COVID. One of us would have caught COVID. She's constantly spraying everything down with like Lysol or like with isopropyl alcohol, like rubbing alcohol. Like she, like how you go to the store and like things are empty because people buy them in stock, like all the cleaning supplies and all. That's my sister. Like that is literally my sister.
All the paper towels and
She
toilet paper.
Toilet
all
paper.
Oh my gosh. No, it was so funny. Literally, like what we went into lockdown March 17th last year. Henry went to the store at or on March 16th. And I guess his friend worked there. And his friend was like, worked at Costco. And then she was like, hey, if you're at Costco, like make sure you grab extra toilet paper. For some reason, people are taking them.
Hmm.
Henry came home with like 5 things of toilet paper. I was like, why did you buy all this toilet paper? Next day on the news, we have a shortage. Well, like I think definitely the cleanliness, like washing your hands before and after everything you do.
Hmm.
Definitely always wearing a mask, but like how you see those videos on TikTok is like here's your reminder to drink water. Please remember to wash your mask. If you have like a reusable one, please remember to wash it. I know y'all not washing your masks. Like it
Hey, I'm
takes
also my
it
mask.
takes 2 seconds.
Me too. I don't know who you're talking to.
I don't know. That's not. Yeah, I know. I do know some people that don't wash them
No,
though.
no, trust me. Trust me. There are people out there that don't wash their masks. Please, please, y'all, wash your masks.
Hmm.
Takes like 2 seconds in the shower, like throw it in with your load, like, just make sure that that is always clean. because that can carry germs. And yeah, be prayerful. Like I feel like we're all safe and we're all here today because of the prayers of our loved ones. But yeah, that is all that we have for y'all today. We are at the end of Koviki Talk. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Love
Thank
and appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming on.
You too, sis.
So good to see you guys.
you. Yep. Make sure to follow our IGs.
Whew. Okay, because
Get out.
dude, that shameless plug. Do it.